Zunimassa! Alright guys, this is my Zunimassa's build for the Witch Doctor in Diablo 3 patch 2.4.1, and goddamn, I had a bit of a hard time farming all of the gear for this build, but I didn't want to do it until it was absolutely perfect. So we're going to start with gear and then we'll move into skills. With gear, what we want is Zunimassa's headpiece. We want intelligence, vitality, definitely critical hit chance as well with that. Now, with shoulders, they're quite optional. I like using Death Watch Mantle because I find myself in packs, in large packs all the time, and whenever I get hit, I explode in that damage, those fans of knives. It's really up to the player. A lot of people do go with Pauldrons of the Skeleton King for that chance to come back to life with 25% of your maximum health if you are killed, but I mean, really, I die hardly ever. I'd probably use this only in Greater Rifts if I'm really pushing for some big Greater Rifts. Other than that, I like the Death Watch Mantle for a bit of extra damage. Make sure that you have Intelligence, Vitality, and Reduce All Cooldown skills. Make sure that you have Reduce All Cooldown skills. Reducing cooldown is critical for this build. We've got Zunimassa's chest piece there, and obviously the more Gargantuan damage you have, the better. We'll get into that shortly though. Your Gargantuans do the bulk of your damage with this build. It is a Gargantuan build. You can call it a Zunimassa's Gargantuan build, really. We've got the Traveler's Pledge, which goes hand in hand with the Compass Rose here. So if you have the two of these, or the set equipped, you get, while moving, your damage taken is reduced by up to 50%. Alright, so that's a great way to reduce damage reduction. While standing still, which we will be doing quite a lot of and casting, your damage dealt is increased by up to 100%. So 100% extra damage for having this set definitely is better than Focus and Restraint, having the Traveler's Pledge and the Compass Rose, aka the Endless Walk set. And the Traveler's Pledge, nothing special. We want definitely a gem slot. We want intelligence, vitality, and then any other damaging stats that we get, like critical hit chance, critical hit damage. Obviously, I had to get rid of one of my stats to have that gem slot there, but you know, nothing beats the gem slot. You must have it. And we've also got Bane of the Stricken in that gem slot there. All right, so Bane of the Stricken is our first gem. Gloves, Tasker and Theo. Now, these bad boys increase attack speed of your pets. I think it's up to 50%. I got 41 there, so it's not the best roll, but I'm sure that I'll get another pair as I go, and I might even reforge the Legendary and get a pair shortly. So definitely want Tasker and Theo for your gloves there. We want Intelligence, Vitality, definitely critical hit chance, critical hit damage if possible, but most importantly, we want cooldown reduction of all skills. Must have cooldown reduction. Now the braces, we're using Lacumba's Ornament. Now these things are definitely new to me. I've never heard of these until I played a Witch Doctor, and rightfully so. It's because they're Witch Doctor braces. Now we want Intelligence, Vitality, critical hit damage, and we also want cold skills. Because our Gargantuan damage is all cold skills, this adds to that even more, by up to 20%. Alright, so make sure that you have cold skills on this as well. The damage bonus is definitely worth it, believe me. And the braces themselves reduce all damage taken by 6% for each soul harvest that you have. So we have up to 10 stacks of soul harvest, which I'll get into if you stick around, and you'll know exactly how we get our 10 stacks. But this is a definite must for survivability and also for damage reduction. It's huge, I tell you. The Belt of Transcendence. This is a lovely belt which summons a Fetish Sycophant when you hit with a Mana Spender. So as we're firing, as we're hitting mobs with our Haunt here, we summon a Sycophant every time we hit, and we keep summoning, up to 15 I believe it is. So we have 15 of them, and we have 8 fetishes, so we have 23 little critters running around stabbing things. It's pretty awesome. This will all make sense shortly. Just hang in there. Alright, the compass rose we went through. The other ring we want is the short man's finger. This is absolutely critical. Now, what the short man's finger does is your Gargantuan, instead of summoning one, you summon 3 smaller Gargantuans, and they're all more powerful than the one. Like the one wasn't powerful enough, which he was. Now we get 3, and they're all more powerful. So this is awesome. We definitely want intelligence, and we want critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and vitality if possible. All the good stuff. So make sure you get your short man's finger. It's an absolute must for this build. Zunimassa's pants, nothing really out of the ordinary there. Intelligence, vitality, maybe some armor. I've just left life regen. I'm not too fussed. Works for me. And we want Zunimassa's boots. Alright, so we've got intelligence, vitality, armor. I like having movement speed and leaving it there because I can put more paragon points into my intelligence as opposed to movement speed. But, you know, up to you. You don't have to put movement speed there. I can't remember what I sacrificed to have movement speed. It was something that I really didn't need at all. So I've got my armor, I've got my vitality, I've got intelligence. I've got enough. Alright, very importantly, Sacred Harvester. Must have this weapon. Absolutely must have this weapon. And like I mentioned before, Soul Harvest now stacks up to 10 times. That is because we've got this weapon. It is absolutely critical for survivability. Make sure you get a Sacred Harvester. Make sure that you get an Ancient if possible. Mine's not an Ancient right now, but it will be. I'll be farming an Ancient, and I'll also be reforging Legendaries. I've just been a bit unlucky, but make sure you get an Ancient with nice damage, and you can't go wrong. And we've also obviously put an Emerald Gem in there for critical hit damage by 130%. The offhand, we got Zunimassa's offhand, obviously another must. Look for your good stuff: intelligence, vitality, damage bonus, critical hit chance, cooldown reduction of all skills, obviously, and this increases Fetish Army damage by 21%. So nifty little offhand as well, and goes hand in hand with the build. Now going back to our gems, we've got Bane of the Stricken, like I mentioned. The other two that I didn't mention yet are the Enforcer. So this increases damage of your pets by 32%. Obviously, as you level up your gem, you do more damage, and your pets take 90% less damage. So this is huge. Enforcer has actually been buffed this season, and this is a must have for a pet build such as this. And Bane of the Trap, so every time we cast Piranhas, which I'll be showing in a second when we go through our skills, this kicks in and increases damage by 32% at the moment, but obviously as you level up, you do more and more damage. And that's pretty much the armor that we need. We're going to skills now, so some of this, makes a bit better sense. We're using Haunt with Poison Spirit, and basically we're spamming Haunt wherever possible because any enemies that are haunted actually take a lot of additional damage. Fetish Army with Legion of Daggers, Spirit Walk with Jaunt. This is for survivability and mobility. If we are taking a lot of damage, we can just get the hell out of there. Piranhas with Piranado. Now this is a must. This again triggers Bane of the Trapped and does a lot of damage. Sucks enemies into one area and allows your pets to go to town. Soul Harvest with Languish. Again, awesome for damage reduction. And Languish actually increases your armor every time we harvest a soul. And up to 10, it's just huge. Absolutely huge. And if you're doing greater rifts, this is a must. Absolute must. It's a must anyway. It really reduces a lot of damage that we take. Gargantuan with Humungoid. This again has an awesome cleave which allows the Gargantuan to hit multiple enemies around. Huge packs, they'll just clean them out like nothing. And as you can see, it's cold damage based. And now we've got 3 Gargantuans with Humungoid. Look at the damage. The damage is going to be awesome. Now, very importantly, passive skills. We've got Grave Injustice, which you gain 1% of your maximum life and mana and reduce cooldown of all of your skills by 1 when an enemy dies within 20 yards. So as we're killing enemies, we've got to make sure we're within 20 yards, and then all of our cooldowns just fly and we can recast again. So make sure that we're always around enemies when we cast our Piranhas and when enemies are dying, so we can get that cooldown reduction buff. It's awesome. Midnight Feast for our Gargantuan damage increase. It increases his damage, or their damage, 3 of them, by 50%. Fetish Sycophants. Now, when you hit enemies with your spells, you have up to a 15% chance to summon a dagger-wielding fetish to fight by your sides for 60 seconds. So, again, we can summon extra little Fetish Sycophants, just like we can with our Belt of Transcendence, and we get up to 15. So it's pretty awesome. We get 15 of these, and when we summon our Fetish Shaman, we get 8. So they're pretty much looking identical, and they do a shitload of damage. And when we've got 23, God damn it, boys, they really go to town. Now, this one here is optional. I like using Fierce Loyalty if I'm not doing Greater Rifts. Reason being, it really buffs your speed. It buffs your speed to a percentage of however many pets that you have active. So while you have Gargantuan, Zombie Dog, or Fetish Summon, your movement speed increased by 15%. The bonus is increased to 30, while a Gargantuan, Zombie Dog, or Fetish is not in combat. So we just really fly through. I love movement speed. I love moving quickly, especially when I'm farming. So I highly recommend this if you're farming, either bounties or normal, regular Nephilim rifts. If you're doing greater rifting and really trying to do some higher level greater rifting, you can go Jungle Fortitude to reduce damage taken, but with Soul Harvest should be okay. I would go with Pierce the Veil for extra damage by 20%, but your mana cost is increased, but you should be able to manage with that mana cost increase quite easily. It shouldn't be an issue at all. But yeah, because I'm just going to be doing some fun farming at the moment, definitely have Fierce Loyalty. I like moving around real quick, and I think you will too, but these other three are absolutely critical, and I wouldn't swap them out for anything. Alright, let's go into our Canai's Cube here. I said Canai's Cube, goddammit. Now in Canai's Cube, what you want is probably the furnace in your weapon slot, but I don't have a furnace. As the veteran players will know, a furnace is actually very, very ultra rare. So instead of furnace, I've got the Yuan Jangdo, which when enemies are below 20% health, they freeze, and that again increases the Bane of the Trap damage, and it's ultra handy for greater rifts as well when you have to actually do a lot of extra damage for the enemies and elites in there. When you get them down to 20% life, they'll freeze for 3 seconds, and damage is increased again according to your Bane of the Trap gem. So I'm keeping this for now. Once I get a furnace, the furnace will take over for elite damage. The Mask of Joram. Now this bad boy bastard, beep, I feel like swearing. I didn't get one of these until I was 515 Paragon levels. I don't know if I was just unlucky or if this is that rare, but god damn it, it was worth it, because now when you get it and when you put it in Canai's, your pet's still 100% increased damage, and that shows big time. As you can imagine, 100% damage increase is huge. So now my pet's down everything and slice through enemies like butter. Finally, the Ring of Royal Grandeur. Now, because we don't actually have 6 items of Zunimassa's equipped, we've only got 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we've gone with different shoulders, and we've also gone with Tasker and Theo gloves for that the pet attack speed bonus. We definitely need the Ring of Royal Grandeur to get that 6-piece bonus. So speaking of the 6-piece bonus, let's go through our bonuses now. Now your 2 set bonus is your Fetish army lasts until they die, and the cooldown of your Fetish army is reduced by 80%. So this is pretty handy. So as you go into new packs and start attacking new enemies, you can resummon your Fetish army, and it'll concentrate on that area rather than them killing off enemies further back somewhere. Your 4 set bonus is you and your pets take 3% less damage for every fetish you have alive. So we're going to have 23 fetish alive most of the time, so that's a big damage reduction right there. And multiply that with Soul Harvest with 10 stacks, then we can take a hell of a lot of damage. And this comes in handy in greater rifts, big time, believe me. Finally, your 6 set bonus is enemies hit by your mana spenders take 1500 or 1500% increased damage from your pets for 8 seconds. So anything that we've haunted with this takes all that ultra extra damage from our pets, and that's why we're spamming haunt wherever we go, whatever we do, because of that huge, absolutely huge 1.5k% damage bonus. I guess I better mention Paragon points. Like I did mention earlier, if you have boots with 12% movement speed or more, you only need 13% to get to your 25% cap, and then dump everything else into intelligence. Offense. We definitely want to start with cooldown reduction. It's absolutely critical for this build, and then you want to split evenly your critical hit chance and critical hit damage as you go, and then dump everything else into attack speed. Defense, we want to start with resist all, then into armor, then into life, and then lastly life regeneration. And utility, order of importance will be area damage, resource cost reduction, and then life on hit, and then obviously when we have everything that we need, we dump everything into gold find, whatever points we have left. And that's pretty much it. I think I've gone through everything now, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it's time to show you some gameplay and show you how this works. Let's do it. Alright, so check this out. We summon Gargantuan. 1, 2, 3 come out. Alright, so they're smaller, they're stronger, they're quicker. I don't know if they're quicker, but they do a hell of a lot more damage now with 3, and they're multiplied by 3. So we summon them, we summon our fetish, and that's all the pets that we're using at the moment. Let's move and watch these guys in action. So a good thing to do is use your Spirit Walk, cast your Soul Harvest, so you get your damage reduction immediately, and then cast your Piranhas. Once we get 10 stacks, we're laughing.
Not ready yet. A perfect strike. I have been beaten.
As you can see, there's just stuff going on all over the place. Now we're about to hit our 10 stacks, and now we can take a hell of a lot more damage. And you can just see these Fetish and the Gargantuans just demolishing shit. Check that out. When you get some nice big packs, just cast your Soul Harvest, your Piranhas. Don't forget to stick within 20 yards of your enemies so you get that cooldown reduction as well. And you will not have an issue, boys. Awesome build, really awesome. I'm loving this. Can't wait to push some greater rifts, some higher greater rifts, and really see how much I can push this build. I don't think it's good as the Helltooth set, but it definitely holds its own. As you can see, it's pretty good. Don't forget to cast Haunt as much as possible. And Spirit Walk really is a lifesaver. You don't have to do what I'm doing and stay right in the action itself. You can go to the side slightly, but I'm used to it, so I get right in the action. Doesn't worry me at all. But you guys get the idea anyway. Let's go back to town. And voila, there you have it. There is my build. You can see that it works awesome. Give it a go. Give me a thumbs up if you like this, and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you keep coming back. Until next time, Banning 13 out.